International recognized that Indo-Chinese Communist Party is an independent section of Communist International. Right here you can see a prison bar. It's reminded about it reminded about the event when Ho Chi Minh was put in jail twice because his positive activity made the French so worried about his influence on Indo-Chinese revolution. So he sentenced him to death in absentia. In 1931, under the name Tổng Văn Sơ, he was illegally arrested by British authority in Hong Kong. Luckily, he received help from Lozabi, a prominent British lawyer. When knowing Tổng Văn Sơ was captured, the Comintern has asked Lozabi to help him. As but Lozabi didn't accept that after visiting Tổng Văn Sơ in prison, he was pursued by his patriotism and his knowledge. Lozabi was changed his decision. After night hearing, Tổng Văn Sơ was not set free. Then he put this case through the private court in London. With the help of his Lozabi friends in Noël Paris, finally Tổng Văn Sơ was set free. Then he moved to Singapore, but was arrested again for lacking a passport. Lozabi assisted him and provide him to this guy like rich Chinese merchants and he finally left Hong Kong, went to Shanghai in 1933. Interestingly, this custom didn't be the original one. In 1960, when Ho Chi Minh became the first president in a Democratic Republic of Vietnam, he invited Lozabi family to visit Vietnam, and Lozabi gave Ho Chi Minh this custom as a present. Leaving China, Ho Chi Minh traveled to Russia from 1931 to 1938 using the name Lin. He lived and worked in Russia for 4 years. He studied at International Lenin University and worked in Research Institute on National and Colonial Problems. In Russia, he also attended the 7th Congress of Communist International as a consultant. In his profile, he noted that he can use 6 languages, including the Chinese, the French, English, Italian, German, and Russian. In 1938, as the World War II started with the rising of fascism, Nguyễn Ái Quốc realized that it was the right time to return home, and Vietnam has an opportunity to gain the independence. So he left Moscow in that year, and you can see the letter that Communist International admitted him to return to Vietnam on this page. Together with the war, the Vietnamese had to face with one of the powerful fascists. In 1940, the French were defeated by Germany. Subsequently, the Japanese invaded Indochina and forced the French to cede Indochina to them. At that time, Vietnamese people had to fight against with the Japanese, not the French. In 1941, after 30 years outside the country, Ho Chi Minh returned to Bắc Bó, Cao Bằng, a mountainous area in the north of Vietnam. He chose this place to hide himself and contact with communist soldiers in China. To, uh, to prepare for Vietnamese revolution, he found the Viet Minh Front, and to have visitors visualize about this the place where President Ho Chi Minh lived when he returned to Vietnam. The museum was constructed this place with the landmark between Vietnam and China, and Lenin's theme, which Ho Chi Minh named, and the case shaped like wrinkle in human brain imply that this place was the headquarters of Vietnamese revolution. Under the rule of the French and Japanese, Vietnamese people got harder and harder. Therefore, Ho Chi Minh wrote a book named The History of Our Nation to motivate Vietnamese people. In this book, he predicted that in 1945, Vietnam will gain independence, and this came true for 4 years later. Once again, we see a prison bar here. In August 1942, Ho Chi Minh traveled to southern China, believing that Vietnam and China, with the same enemy as Japan, could provide military assistance. Unfortunately, he was arrested by authority for lacking a passport. During 13 months imprisonment, he was transferred to 30 prison in Quang province. Despite the harsh condition, he still remained optimistic and composing a book named Diary in Prison. It shows the cruel policy of the prison. This book then translated into 20 languages. Ho Chi Minh was released in September 1943, and he returned to the country years later. In March 1945, Japan completely overthrew the French authority. Then in August 1945, when the World War II ends with Japan suffered 2 atomic bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the unconditional surrender to Soviet Union. So this is a golden opportunity that Ho Chi Minh waits. He rallied for general insurrection. Respond to his call, the Vietnamese people in all religions unite to fight against enemies. Within 2 weeks, we gained the control in all the country, including Hanoi, Huế, and Saigon. In September 2nd, 1945, Ho Chi Minh read the Declaration of Independence and proclaimed that the establishment of Provisional Democratic Republic of Vietnam. In conclusion, the victory of the August Revolution and the establishment of Democratic Republic of Vietnam marked the end of over 80 years of French colonization. Right after the ceremony, the member of Provisional Democratic Republic of Vietnam meet the people and also to build a government of people, for people, and by people and for people. In January 1946, A general election was held nationwide. President Ho Chi Minh President Ho Chi Minh won the election with more 98% of the votes, become the first official uh, president of Vietnam. At this time, Vietnam has to face many difficulties and challenges, like about economy, famine, and illiterate. Besides, we also have to face with many enemies. The Tưởng Giới Thạch troops in the north and the British and French troops in the south. Um, However, Ho Chi Minh realized that the most dangerous enemies of Vietnam were the French at that time. So he used clever and he used the clever and flexible tactics to separate the enemies. For the French, they not only colluded with the British in the south, they also colluded with the Chinese in the north with the Chinese French treaty. This treaty was very inconvenient for Vietnam, so Ho Chi Minh decided to side with the French preliminary agreement. According to the agreement, firstly, the French had to recognize the Vietnamese authority. Secondly, the Vietnam allowed that 15,000 French soldiers can come to the north of Vietnam and replace the Chinese army. Um, they must withdraw from the north of Vietnam within 5 years. Thirdly, that two sides temporarily suspend the war, waiting for the next negotiation. It was a preliminary agreement. Ho Chi Minh had to go to the French to sign the final agreement in Fontainebleau Castle, but it failed. Then, to save the nation, Ho Chi Minh signed with the French the temporary treaty. It was a temporary solution. However, it gave Vietnamese people more time to prepare for resistance against the French. Although the President Ho Chi Minh and Vietnamese government try to avoid a bloody war. However, on December 1946, the French sent to Vietnamese government a ultimatum forced the Vietnamese government surrendered unconditionally. Ho Chi Minh know that surrender is mean that we lose the country, so he appeals to resist. So he appeals to for national resistance. This press war reflects the world situation after the Second World War and talk about the victory of people in struggle against the pessimism, lead through the division of the war into two systems, socialism and capitalism. On the left side, you can see the red represent for the capitalism with the image of communist construction in Soviet Union in early year. On the right side, you can see some typical image expressing the development of science and technology in Western country or capitalism at that time. In the middle of the hall is a typical architect at that time. And with the words "go for what," it's expressing the belief of human in a happy and a peaceful life in the future. This hall discusses a great power of revolutionary force, um, a revolutionary force uh, for national liberation worldwide. It is emerged from Asia, Africa, and Latin America. In this movement, President Ho Chi Minh is a pioneer, and with the victory of August Revolution and the Info Battle, encouraged the colonial countries stand up for their release. In, in the middle of the horse is a volcano symbolizing for the inner strength of colonial countries. On the wall, there was the words like Asia, Africa, and Latin America. These countries in this area also have their own culture and um, civilizations, thus deserve to respect.